My family took everything I had, after I paid $3,000 to save their home. I'm sprawled across the faded blue couch in my tiny Charlotte apartment, one hand clutching a chipped mug of chamomile tea, the other pressed against my temple like I can physically push away the headache brewing there. The Midtown building creaks around me, its old wooden floors groaning under the weight of a humid North Carolina evening. My phone, resting on the scratched coffee table, buzzes again, its screen flashing like a distress signal. Clara, Henry, Miles. The same three names over and over, lighting up in a relentless loop. Mom, Dad, my brother. I don't need to check the messages to know what they say. It's been 6 months since I walked away, and they're still trying to reel me back in. I'm Elise Carter, 29, a data analyst who clawed her way through UNC Charlotte on a full scholarship. I've spent nearly a decade playing the role of the family's invisible fixer, patching up their financial messes, keeping the lights on, making sure the fridge was stocked. I was the one who stepped in when Miles, my 33-year-old brother, blew his paycheck on another failed music demo. The one who covered the mortgage when Clara and Henry forgot to budget for their new dining set. I used to think it was my job, that being the reliable daughter meant carrying their weight. But now, in this shoebox of an apartment with its chipped paint and single window, I'm starting to see it for what it was. A trap I didn't even know I was in. The phone vibrates again, and I flinch, the tea sloshing dangerously close to the mug's rim. I set it down, the ceramic clinking softly against the table. Clara's name glows on the screen. I can already hear her voice in my head, sharp and trembling with that practiced mix of guilt and urgency. Elise, how could you do this to us? Call back if you care. I don't pick up. I haven't in weeks. But the silence I've carved out for myself feels fragile, like one wrong move could shatter it and pull me back to the life I left. 6 months ago, I walked out of their house in Gastonia, a 40-minute drive from here. No shouting, no slamming doors, just me, a worn backpack, and a suitcase stuffed with clothes, my laptop, and a spiral notebook where I tracked every bill I'd paid for them. I stepped onto their porch as the street lights flickered on, the sunset bleeding orange across the neighborhood. No one stopped me. No one asked where I was going. They were used to Elise, the steady one, the daughter who'd always come through. Clara was probably scrolling through her phone, Henry glued to his car repair manual, Miles sprawled on the couch with his headphones blasting. They didn't notice me leave, just like they never noticed me carrying them. I used to think I was strong for it. At 16, I was biking to a bookstore job after school, wiping down tables and shelving novels while my friends hung out at coffee shops. My first paycheck went to a secondhand laptop so I could keep up with homework. When I got my scholarship, I thought it'd be my ticket to freedom, but it just tightened the leash. Clara would call, "Miles needs new software for his music, honey. Can you help?" Henry would text, "The water bill's late again, just this once." And I'd send the money, every time, because I believed family came first, because I thought love meant saying yes. Now, staring at the ceiling's water-stained tiles, I'm not so sure. For 10 years, I kept their world spinning. Electricity, groceries, car repairs, Miles's endless projects. I canceled my own plans, like the condo I almost put a deposit on, to bail them out. And what did I get? Not a thank you, not a, "We're proud of you, Elise, for landing a job at one of Charlotte's top tech firms." Just more asks, more emergencies, more wait. The phone buzzes again. Miles this time. I close my eyes, my chest tightening. I can picture him, lounging in the family room, probably blaming me for whatever mess he's in now. I lean back, the couch springs squeaking under me, and take a sip of tea. It's gone lukewarm, but the faint floral taste steadies me. This apartment, with its mismatched furniture and single bookshelf, is the first place that feels like mine. No one's knocking to demand money. No one's calling to schedule doctor's appointments or beg for gas cash. But the freedom I found is heavy, laced with a guilt I can't shake. Did I abandon them? Or did I finally save myself? The phone lights up again, and for the first time in months, I let it ring, each vibration a reminder that I'm not going back. The buzz of my phone fades into the background, but the weight of those names, Clara, Henry, Miles, pulls me back to a time when I thought saying yes was the only way to keep our family together. I set my tea down and close my eyes, the creak of my Charlotte apartment fading as memories flood in. I'm not on this couch anymore. I'm 16 again, pedaling my rusted bike through Gastonia's humid streets. my backpack heavy with textbooks and a work apron. While my classmates were piling into their parents' cars, laughing about weekend plans, I was headed to a cramped bookstore 4 blocks from school. I'd spend hours shelving paperbacks and wiping down counters, the smell of dust and coffee grounds clinging to my clothes. My first paycheck, $127 after taxes, didn't go to new sneakers or movie tickets like my friends. It bought a second-hand laptop, a clunky thing with a cracked screen, because I knew if I didn't keep up with schoolwork, no one else would help me. I was Elise Carter, the girl who figured things out. At 18, I earned a full scholarship to UNC Charlotte, a data analytics program that promised a future I could build myself. I thought it'd be my escape, a chance to focus on my own dreams, like saving for a condo in Midtown, a place with big windows and a desk for my coding projects. But family has a way of rewriting your plans. Clara's voice would crackle through the phone. Miles needs a new microphone for his music demo, honey. It's just $200. Can you cover it? Henry would send a text, casual but urgent. The electric bill's overdue. Can you send something? I'd log into my bank app, my savings shrinking with every transfer, and tell myself it was temporary. Family sticks together, right? Miles, my brother, was 33 now, but acted like he was still 20, chasing a music career that never took off. He dropped out of community college after 2 semesters, claiming it stifled his creativity. Since then, he'd bounced from gig to gig, bartender, Uber driver, sound tech, each job ending with an excuse. The manager was a jerk, he'd say, or it wasn't my vibe. Clara would nod, her eyes soft, and say, "He's finding his path, Elise. You can't rush genius." Henry would chime in, "Your brother's got potential. He just needs time." Meanwhile, I was the one keeping the lights on, the one who never got a nod for landing a job at a tech firm downtown. When I graduated with honors, Clara's only comment was, "Couldn't you have picked a school closer? Miles might need the car." I didn't ask for much. I never left a trail of debt, never missed a deadline, never needed bailing out, but somehow I was the one who ended up invisible. The first time I sent money for the family's mortgage, I was 21, fresh out of college and barely making rent on my own. Clara called, her voice shaky. "The bank's threatening foreclosure, Elise. Just a few hundred to tide us over." I sent $400 that night, eating instant ramen for a week to make up for it. A few hundred turned into $900 a month, then car repairs, then Miles's new guitar because he's serious this time. I kept a notebook, scribbling down every payment. $200 for the water heater, $600 for Henry's back meds, $300 for Clara's emergency credit card bill. I thought I was helping, that it was my duty as the stable one. The worst was when I canceled my condo deposit. I'd been saving for 2 years, dreaming of a 1-bedroom with a view of Charlotte's skyline. I'd even toured a place, picturing my books on the shelves, my laptop on a real desk. Then Henry called, his voice low. "The house is in trouble, Elise. We need $1,000 a month to keep the bank off our backs. Just for a few months." I stared at my bank app, my $2,000 deposit ready to go, and felt my chest cave. I sent the money instead, watching my dream slip away. That few months stretched into 2 years, over $24,000 total, not counting the smaller bills. Groceries, insurance, Miles's mixing software. No one said thank you. No one asked if I could afford it. They just asked for more. I'd come home after 12-hour shifts, my eyes burning from staring at spreadsheets, and find Miles sprawled on the couch, headphones on, tweaking a beat he'd never finish. Clara would be in the kitchen, humming as she cooked his favorite chili, while Henry recounted Miles's high school band days like they were war stories. I'd set down bags of groceries I'd bought, salmon, vegetables, frozen meals, and Clara would barely glance up. "You're a lifesaver, Elise," she'd say, but it felt like an afterthought, like I was just doing what was expected. The more I gave, the less I mattered. And the one time I hesitated, Clara's voice turned sharp. "Don't you care about your family?" I'd lie awake at night, wondering if I was selfish for wanting a life of my own, for wanting to be seen. Looking back, I see it clearly. I wasn't just helping. I was enabling a system where Miles was the dreamer, Clara and Henry were the victims, and I was the bank. I thought love meant carrying their weight, but all it did was sink me deeper into a role I never chose. The phone buzzes again, snapping me back to my apartment. I don't check it. I don't need to. I know what they want, and for the first time, I'm not sure I'm going to give it. The phone's buzzing has become white noise, a faint hum blending with the creak of my Charlotte apartment's floorboards. I'm still on the couch, the chamomile tea cold in its mug, my eyes fixed on the coffee table where my phone lies like a ticking bomb. Clara, Henry, Miles. Their names flash with every vibration, each one a pull back to a life I thought I'd left behind. It's been 6 months since I stopped sending money, 6 months since I walked out of their Gastonia house with nothing but a backpack and a notebook full of debts they'd never repay. I've ignored their calls for weeks, but tonight, something shifts. A nagging feeling, sharp and cold, settles in my gut. I need to know what's really going on. I sit up, my hands trembling as I grab my laptop from the floor. The screen glows, casting a harsh light across the room. I log into the bank account I used to send mortgage payments to, the one in Henry's name. I've never checked it before. Why would I? I was their daughter, the one they called when the bank sent warning letters. I trusted that my money went where they said it did. My fingers hover over the keyboard, a lump rising in my throat. I scroll through the transaction history, my heart pounding as I trace the payments I sent over the past 2 years. Every transfer is there, meticulously recorded, $900 here, $200 there, each one a piece of my life I gave up. But then I see it, the line that stops my breath. The last mortgage payment from this account was 8 months ago. 8 months. I sent $3,000 after that, 3 months of payments before I cut them off, and not a single dollar went to the house. I blink, my vision blurring. The screen shows an overdue balance, $7,200 with a status marked, "At risk of foreclosure." I press a hand to my mouth, trying to silence the gasp that escapes. My mind races, piecing it together. I kept sending money, believing it was saving their home, and they didn't use it. They lied. The betrayal hits like a punch, raw and heavy, stealing the air from my lungs. I slam the laptop shut, my hands shaking so badly I nearly knock over the tea mug. I need proof, something concrete to make this real. I grab my phone, ignoring the missed calls, and dial the bank's customer service line. My voice is steady as I explain, posing as the concerned daughter checking on her parents' account. After some verification, the rep's voice is calm, clinical. That account hasn't had a full mortgage payment since January. It's now in special collections. I thank her and hang up, the phone slipping from my hand onto the couch. The world tilts. 8 months behind, and I sent $3,000 that vanished into thin air. Where did it go? Miles's music gear? Clara's impulse buys? Henry's emergencies? The thought of them pocketing my money while the house slid toward foreclosure makes my stomach churn. I'm not just angry. I'm heartbroken. I gave up my condo deposit, my savings, my peace of mind, and they repaid me with lies. The phone buzzes again, Henry's name flashing. I stare at it, my pulse hammering. I know if I don't answer, they'll keep calling, keep guilt-tripping, keep acting like I'm the one who failed them. This time, I'm ready to face it. I hit answer, my voice low but firm. "Dad, I checked the bank. The mortgage is 8 months behind. I sent money for 3 of those months. What happened?" There's a pause, then a sigh. "Elise, I know you're upset, but it's not what you think." His voice is heavy, like he's rehearsing a script. "Not what I think?" I snap, my calm cracking. "I sent money to save the house and you didn't pay it. Where did it go?" Before he can answer, Clara's voice cuts in, shrill and furious. "Elise, don't you dare talk to your father like that. You don't understand what we've been through since you walked away." "Walked away?" I laugh, bitter and sharp. "You mean when I stopped paying for everyone to live like I don't exist? You lied to me, Mom. That money was for the house. You don't get to judge us." She yells, her voice trembling with that rehearsed sob I know too well. "Miles lost his job. Your dad's back is worse, and the house is falling apart. You turned your back on us." "No," I say, my voice dropping to a cold whisper. "I turned my back when I realized you were draining me dry and calling it family." Miles jumps in, his tone lazy but cutting. "You're making this a bigger deal than it is, Elise. They just need time. Why are you acting like we owe you the world?" I grip the phone so tightly my knuckles ache. "The world? No, Miles. But the house I paid for? Yeah, that I'm owed. You've never paid a bill in your life and you're calling me selfish?" "Enough," Clara snaps. "If you think you can just abandon us, you're not the daughter I raised." Henry's voice returns, softer, pleading. Elise, we messed up, okay? But we need you. The bank's closing in. If you don't help, we'll lose everything. I close my eyes, the weight of their words pressing down. For a moment, I'm 16 again, biking home in the dark, thinking if I just worked harder, they'd see me. But I'm not that girl anymore. Then lose it, I say, my voice steady. I've carried you all for 10 years. I'm done. Elise, you can't, Henry starts, but I cut him off. I can, and I am. I hang up, my hands shaking but my chest lighter. The silence that follows isn't heavy. It's alive, like the first breath after breaking free. The phone sits silent on the coffee table, its screen dark for the first time in weeks. After that call with Clara, Henry, and Miles, I powered it off and left it there. A small act of defiance that feels like cutting a tether. My Charlotte apartment, with its creaky floors and chipped walls, wraps around me like a cocoon. The air smells faintly of chamomile and the lavender candle I lit to steady my nerves. For 3 days, I don't touch the phone. No texts, no voicemails, no pleas or accusations. Just silence, sweet and uncharted, like a language I'm only now learning to speak. I'm Elise Carter, 29, and this is the first time in a decade I'm living for myself. My days have a new rhythm, one I'm building piece by piece. Mornings start with coffee brewed in a cheap drip machine, the kind that gurgles like it's complaining. I sit by my single window, watching the sun creep over Midtown's skyline, the glass towers glinting gold. I don't check my bank app obsessively anymore, waiting for the next emergency to drain it. Instead, I'm saving, small amounts but steady, like stacking bricks for a future I can actually see. Weekends, I walk through Freedom Park, the lake reflecting the sky, my earbuds playing a podcast instead of Clara's voice begging for money. I'm learning to code in Python, scribbling notes in a journal I bought last week, its leather cover soft under my fingers. It's a small thing, that journal, but it's mine, chosen without a thought of what someone else might need. Still, the silence isn't always easy. At night, when the city quiets and my apartment feels too small, the guilt creeps in. I lie on my couch, the springs digging into my back, and wonder if I was too harsh. Did I abandon them? The house I helped save for years is teetering on foreclosure, and I'm the one who pulled the plug. Clara's last words echo in my head. You're not the daughter I raised. Miles' voicemail from a week ago, sharp and bitter, plays on repeat in my mind. You're letting us sink just because of your pride. Henry's plea, softer but no less heavy. We'll lose everything. I try to push it away, to remind myself of the $3,000 they took without a word, the 8 months of mortgage payments they never made. But guilt doesn't need logic. It's a shadow, slipping through the cracks of my resolve. I finally turn the phone back on, not to call, but to listen. The voicemails are there, waiting like traps. Clara's voice trembling with rehearsed sobs. Elise, you'll regret this. That house means everything to me. Henry, his tone worn. We're out of options, Elise. If you don't help, it's over. Miles, short and venomous. You're acting like you're above us. This family's falling apart because of you. I listen to every word, my hands cold, my chest tight. I don't cry, though. I'm too tired for tears. Their voices are familiar, but they feel distant, like echoes from a life I've outgrown. They've always known how to twist my heart, to make me doubt myself. For years, they called me the pride of the family, the one they couldn't survive without. But that pride was never gratitude. It was a leash, yanked whenever they needed me to fall in line. I stand up, pacing the small living room, my bare feet cool against the wood. The betrayal still burns. The money I sent, the lies they told, the way they turned my sacrifice into their entitlement. But I'm not the girl who biked home in the dark, thinking if I just worked harder, they'd see me. I'm not the one who canceled her condo deposit to save a house they let slip away. I'm Elise, and I'm learning that love doesn't mean bleeding yourself dry. I stop by the bookshelf, my fingers brushing the journal's spine. I bought it on a whim, walking past a stationery shop after work. It cost $15, a luxury I'd never have allowed myself before. I open it, flipping through pages of Python notes and scattered thoughts. I'm tired of being the fixer. What do I want? Freedom feels like breathing. I pick up a pen and write a new line. I deserve this silence. The words look bold on the page, a promise to myself. The guilt still lingers, a quiet ache. I know the house could be lost, that Clara and Henry might call one day with nowhere to go. That thought scares me, but it doesn't own me. I've carried them for 10 years, and if they fall now, it's because they never learned to stand. I close the journal and set it down, the candle flickering on the table. The silence isn't just sweet anymore, it's mine, and I'm not giving it back. The morning sun spills through my apartment's single window, painting the wooden floor in soft gold. I'm sitting cross-legged on the couch, a fresh mug of coffee warming my hands, the bitter aroma mixing with the faint lavender from last night's candle. My journal lies open on the coffee table, its pages filled with Python code snippets and scattered thoughts about who I'm becoming. The phone, once a constant intruder, sits quiet in a drawer, its power off since I listened to those voicemails from Clara, Henry, and Miles. It's been a week since I faced their words, Clara's sobs, Henry's pleas, Miles' accusations, and for the first time, I didn't let them pull me under. I'm Elise Carter, 29, and I'm learning what it means to live for myself. Looking back, I see the arc of my life with a clarity I never had before. For nearly a decade, I was the backbone of a family that took me for granted. I paid their bills, fixed their messes, and sacrificed my dreams, $24,000 for their mortgage, countless more for Miles's music gear, Clara's credit cards, Henry's meds. I thought it was love, that being the good daughter meant carrying their weight. But when I found out they'd taken my last $3,000 and let the house slide 8 months behind, something broke. Not just trust, but the illusion that my sacrifice would ever be enough. That phone call, their voices piling blame on me like I was the one who failed, was the final push. I walked away, not out of cruelty, but because I had to save myself. The guilt still visits, especially in the quiet hours before dawn. I lie awake, the couch springs creaking under me, and wonder if I went too far. The house, that modest Gastonia home where I grew up, could be gone soon. Clara and Henry might call one day. Homeless, desperate, and I'd have to face that. Would I feel responsible? Part of me screams no. I gave them 10 years, skipped meals, canceled my condo deposit. Their choices, not mine, led to this. But guilt doesn't care about facts. It's a whisper, asking if I'm cold, if I'm heartless for choosing myself. I think of Clara's voicemail. You'll regret this. Miles's venom. You're letting us sink. Henry's worn plea. We're out of options. They knew how to make me doubt, to tie me down with lines like, "You're our pride, Elise." But pride was just a word they used to keep me in line. I set the coffee down and pick up a pamphlet from the table. A coding boot camp starting next month. It's a 6-month program, advanced Python and machine learning, the kind of thing that could push my career to the next level. I found it at a tech meetup in Freedom Park, tucked into a stack of flyers. Signing up felt like a leap, like claiming a piece of the future I'd put on hold for so long. The cost dipped into my savings, but for once I didn't hesitate. This is for me, not for a family that never said thank you. The pamphlet's glossy cover catches the light and I smile, tracing the words, "Build your future." It's a small step, but it feels like planting a flag in ground I've finally claimed as my own. I step onto the balcony, the Charlotte skyline stretching before me, all glass and steel softened by the morning haze. My apartment is small, unremarkable, with its low ceiling and mismatched furniture, but it's mine. No one knocks to demand money. No one texts at midnight for a quick loan. Freedom, I've learned, isn't loud or dramatic. It's quiet, gentle, like the first sip of coffee or the rustle of leaves in the park. But it's also fragile. I know the cost of my choice might come later. A call about the house, a family left to fend for themselves. I'm not heartless. I feel that weight. But I've carried enough, and if they fall now, it's because they never tried to stand. I'm not telling this story to be praised or pitied. I just want to understand. Have you ever felt like me? Have you carried a family's burdens, been called selfish for saying no just once? Did you ever draw a line and wonder if it was too sharp? I chose myself, but I don't know if there's a price I haven't seen yet. If you're out there reading this, tell me, did I do the right thing? Sometimes, to keep moving forward, I need to know I'm not alone. I lean against the balcony railing, the city waking below. A breeze carries the scent of dew and distant traffic. I don't have all the answers, but for now, this moment, coffee in hand, skyline ahead, silence behind me, is enough. I'm Elise, and I'm starting to believe that's enough too.